Hey, welcome to the October tour of the raised garden beds. This is Bowtie Dave for Bowtie Life, and I'm standing right here in front of my fall cucumbers. Look at that right there. That's a big old cucumber that's about to get harvested. I wanted to save it for you guys to see, and we'll talk about that in a minute. As always, this is my personal log of what's going on in the garden, and everything is indexed in the description so you can go to certain places if you want to see certain things. But yeah, it's the end of October and it's time for this raised bed garden tour. There's a few interesting things here. We're gearing up for big changes here in the next few months. Let's just get started. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So I like starting early in this with the rain lilies here. These things are looking great. From Jana's father. Started out with one bulb in here. This was my first bulb, and there is a whole bunch of bulbs in here for next year. These things are going to be spread out in various places and going to look beautiful next year. They're going to have a beautiful place to go. But let me just show you this bed. This bed, look how much this brand new bed. It's a brand new bed this year. But this thing in the corner is down about 16 inches. And that was expected. Well, not that much. I was expecting like that right there is 8 inches. No, actually add 2, so 10 inches. This bed was all the way up to the level of the white bricks on top when it started. And so, yeah, it sank a lot. It settled. Nutrients have been eaten out as the plants grow. But we're going to have to start refilling these and getting things going. You can see here, this is my big Citronella plant from Valeria. And look at that thing just shooting out there. The other one here died, sadly enough. But I've got 2 more propagated. I'm going to be cutting this back. We'll probably end up cutting one of these back somewhere down about here and getting a new plant out of that. We'll get a few new plants out of that. But and oh, yeah, here's my mountain mint. And it's starting to grow some random stuff in here, I noticed. There's grasses in here. And how do grasses get way up here? Well, the birds bring them. Whoa, this is not a grass. This, yeah, it's a grass. I thought it was a palm. Birds bring around seeds and stuff. You can see there's grasses growing in here that they've picked up and dropped. And that's okay. It's got its own irrigation in there, but look at this. This was the cucumber I planted in the fall. One of the cucumber plants. I planted actually August, I think it was. And it's about 16 inches long. That one is ready to be picked and eaten now. Looks beautiful. There's a few more in here that are small. Fall cucumbers. Oh my goodness, I've never grown them before. They are tasty. Now this one has a few worms in it. You can see it's pushing out the waste as it's tunneling in. And that doesn't mean the whole cucumber's bad. You can cut that thing off somewhere in there and you'll have a bunch of good cucumber. Look at here. Here's a big one right above us. That's another one ready to pick. And there's still more coming out. And it's getting down to the end of the season. You can see leaves are looking a little rough around the gills. Oh my goodness, Look what I just found. Let's pull this bugger. Oh, that's a heavy one. Oh my goodness, looky here. Oh, that's hilarious. That cucumber grew right through the staple and pulled it out of the ground. That is too funny. Almost strangled itself. I see no worm caterpillar marks in this at all. It's a beautiful cucumber. Oh, this is too funny. Oh, there we go. That's a beautiful cucumber. A little big for eating. the ginger. Ginger really needs to get harvested. You can see the tops of these are starting to brown. These are the new ginger I planted last year. Look at them. This is the coolest thing. These are getting ready to flower, and I really want to see what they look like. I will definitely be posting pictures of these when the time comes. But look over here at this one. This one is just right on the cusp of flowering. That is the neatest thing. Now, there's these two big ones. This small one right here was the one I harvested with y'all on the video a while back, and I replanted some of it back. And then down in here, there's another small one. Let me pull this old tomato back. And this small one here actually grew from the mother of last year's ginger, and it didn't grow very impressive. It didn't have all these tomato plant vining around it at the time, but it still didn't grow very impressive. So I just wanted to see what it would do. You can see there's a bunch of rosemary back in there. I got about 15, 20 rosemary plants back there in cups and pots that need to be planted up, it looks like. We do have 2 red acre cabbages growing in here. Look at this thing. It's starting to look beautiful. There's one there, and if I come over here, I have to keep pulling off the tomatoes from that one, but it's looking beautiful. It's not huge. I don't know how big it's going to get, but it is in a sinking bed, so we'll have to see what it gets out of it, what it makes. This, of course, is the other cucumber that I planted in the fall, and it's still producing. Making some oddly shaped ones. It's stressed. You can tell by the leaves. And these tomatoes that you see growing back here are still in solo cups from spring, and I just never got them planted out. It was a bad year for tomatoes. All these tomatoes, this is just bad year. I do see some little green ones up here. These are Principe Borghese. It's just kind of gone wild. And all these have died out, of course. The thing that has not died out is this okra. And I've got to do a video specifically on measuring this okra that starts there, goes up, and it is falling over this way. And look at the tops of these things. Now, I can't even reach over there, but you can see those are massive okra. I can't even reach my fingers around them. That's how big they are. I go over here. I think these are the biggest ones I've got. That one right there that's hidden, that thing is bigger than my hand. We are letting these go to seed. When those dry, the leaves will start to dry here very soon, here in the next, just not very long, because the weather is starting to change. But as soon as these leaves start drying and these holes will dry out, and we will be collecting the seeds out of these, so we will have seeds for next year from our own harvest of seeds. That's very exciting. So some of you may remember we have a random blackberry that grew out of the bed here in the keyhole of bed number 1. And it's gone down to the ground. It started to grow in the ground. This is one of the paths that we're going to be covering with the ground fabric, so we don't have this anymore. It's one of the challenges we've been having with rodents in this area. This, of course, is the spring cucumbers, and they just look terrible. I've been watching this thing down here. It grew close to there's not very much here, it goes down to the root. This thing used to have leaves. This monster of a thing that's creating seeds, for next year. Yeah, another one over there. We'll see if they volunteer. We're gonna put cucumbers in the same area next year. The zinnia here. This zinnia in the pot, of course, it grew up really tall. And there's some dead heads up there that I have a hard time reaching. I may have to get the ladder to get those down. And we head over here to the peach tree, which is just grown huge. Look how tall that thing is. That thing is 16 feet, maybe. Obviously, it's going to get chopped off way down here somewhere because I don't want that thing to grow that big. Not a chance. We're going to keep this thing in control. Here in about 2 months, January, we'll be giving this thing a good working over, and it'll start to grow again and learning some things about that. So the turmeric plant right there, still have not harvested that. There's 2 of them there in with that poinsettia. So those are going to be harvested pretty soon. They're still looking good. There's a little stress on a couple of the leaves, but I'm not complaining about it. And then we start into bed number 2. And of course, the first thing on bed number 2 are the cucumbers from the spring. And again, look at what is coming off this spring cucumber plant. Still producing. Oh my goodness, look at how big this thing is. I would save seeds, but I don't need any more seeds. Maybe I'll save seeds to give away. There's another citronella plant right here. One of these days, I'm hoping to have about 20 or 30 of those citronella plants all over the property. So I've left these here, and that's either a squirrel or a rat. I'm gonna have to lay up an overnight trap right here to see if it's a rat, because I don't want a rat. That's why I've been leaving them here, to see what would come eat. Squirrels will not be out overnight, but the rats will. The Brussels sprouts are actually growing strong. I still see no Brussels growing down there, but those trunks are really getting big, and I'm hoping those will start getting ready to produce real Brussels sprouts. You can see this is actually growing from way over here. It's growing across the ground, now it's growing up. Hopefully, never grown Brussels sprouts, so I planted these way back in May, maybe. Just learning, figuring things out. And of course we go into the beans. And these beans have gone everywhere. And of course they are such spent vines. There are still a few beans coming out. One of my neighbors just gathered half a gallon last week. There's still some good looking beans. This is not a stringless, this has a string. I'm not saving seeds because there's 3 different kinds of beans mixed in here. If things are allowed to volunteer, I'll let them. But when I grow beans next year, I'm doing whatever the stringless was that I grew, because those were amazing beans. There's still tomato plants over on the other side that are not going to produce. They're either broken off, or it was just a bad year for tomatoes this year. Not just here, a lot of places. Tabasco, I've been collecting Tabasco peppers. These are a little too small to collect, but there's a whole bunch on here still. End of October, October 31st. My one surviving kale plant, looking beautiful. These things, you break off one of these new leaves. This stuff is so good. We're gonna have to do some more kale chips out of that. This thing's gonna grow strong. I see there's 1, 2, 3 branches growing under there. 4th one. Maybe I need to stake this up to get it growing up right more. Problem is, this is one of the beds we're gonna have to fill. See how far it's down? I might have to build a little box around this. It's a 2-year plant, and it got a late start this year. So we'll just have to see what we can get out of that. I may just let it go to seed, I don't know. I would like to have some of it. This is the Dino kale, Lacinato is another name for it. A lot of dead beans in here, a lot of dying tomatoes that never produced. Yeah, a lot of it was this water oak tree over us. You saw about halfway through the outer bed garden tour. Look at these beans. There's still a lot of good beans. Oh, these are the stringless right here. Oh, these are so good. Stringless variety. Yeah. That's the kind I want right there. I might let those die, and if they're still here, I might collect the seeds from that. There's even more. Look here. These skinny round ones. Oh, they're so good. Growing everywhere under here. Now see, these are the stringless. This one here is not. This one has strings. Oh, maybe it is a stringless. I'm not sure. I'd have to study that a little better. I've just kind of let this go. Let nature take its course. I mean, look at this. Handful of beans right there. Look at that big old handful of beans growing. These things have just produced prolifically. Handfuls of beans. Amazing. Of course, we live between several bases and airports and helipads, so we have a lot of air traffic around here. The aloe patch is still going strong. I've got to clean the weeds out again. Considering I've only cleaned the weeds out once all summer, I think it looks pretty good. My little red ladder is going to go somewhere over in the melon patch. Coming around here to bed number 3. Very excited. Number 1, we have this spaghetti squash plants growing right here. And I really never did expect anything. I still have not seen any female flowers on this. I still don't see any female flowers in there. So yeah, I mean, this was a test. Yeah, I don't see any female flowers up in there. Huh. Complete test. I didn't really think it was going to grow, but we're coming up to cool weather. But y'all saw me build a low tunnel a couple of weeks ago. Here it is. I still don't need the plastic on it yet, so I haven't covered it. The nights have gotten down into the upper 50s at the lowest. We did have one night that got down to 41, and I just decided for one single night I wasn't going to cover it. But we have stuff growing everywhere in here. Look at this. This is the Scotch Bonnet, and look, it's got buds on it all over the place, and there's a bee. Ooh, there we go. He's gone over to that Peri Peri. We've got orange bell pepper right there. We have an actual orange bell pepper growing already. Look how big this thing is. I don't know if it's going to make it. It's kind of late in the season. I'm going to try to overwinter this bed. Over here, got something coming up right there. What is this? Let's see if I can get the camera down in here. Oh, jalapeno. We have a jalapeno right there. These are looking beautiful. Got some dollar weed down there I'm gonna have to pull out, but you'll notice there's really not a lot of weed in here. This bed was done properly. It's got cardboard and about 1.5 feet of stuff on top. I think this is the fatalli. Here's the tag. Yes, that's a fatalli. Look how big these leaves are. If you watched the last video on the outer beds, I talked about how big the fatalli leaves are now. In fact, those big leaves, see how big they are compared to my hand? Over here in the outer bed, that right there is the fatalli that's not doing well. It has the little tiny leaves. It's the 2nd year of growing, so it's actually done good. It's had a good life. But this is promising. I love how big these leaves. Another jalapeno growing peppers. Oh, I see 3 orange cross over there that are ready to be harvested. Look at this jalapeno growing. Another jalapeno over there. this small leaf thing right here with all the buds. Oh, it's a Peri Peri. Look at all these little buds. Oh my goodness, that's exciting. That is so exciting. I see 20 buds on that little plant. There's actually a nice orange bell growing over here. Look at this thing. Mrs. Bowtie is gonna love that. And then the Chinese giant. This is one of the ones we planted way back in the spring. We killed over 200 plants, but look at, see if I can get in here without breaking it. Look at that big old monster. Giant bell. These are beautiful. And there's more coming out. Look at that. There's a bud and another baby pepper. That's just too cool. So that's the pepper bed. And interestingly enough, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to put the plastic over here was to keep the magnolia leaves, but looky here. These, this has actually been chewed by a squirrel. You can see how cleanly that is chewed off. That's chewed by a squirrel when they're making their paths through there. But this, they're getting caught in the cattle panel. Is that, how cool is that? Very few of them are actually making it down there. I don't even have to cover it with plastic to keep it protected. These things do a great job. That just excites me to no end. There's another one over here, see? And you can tell it was bitten off by a squirrel. Let me see if I can get a good shot here. Yeah, there you go. See how clean that is? That is bitten off by a squirrel. So yeah, we are gonna have peppers. Maybe in the winter, but certainly in the spring if this survives the winter. I don't know how cold our winter is gonna be, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of exciting. And of course, really the only thing left down here is the spent corn bed, which I've just really left gone fallow. You'll notice it hadn't dropped very much because I've actually added to this. But I did want to show you, now I planted these beans, when all those other beans started dying during the heat of the summer, I actually planted these beans thinking that maybe those would not produce anymore, but they did. They produced gallons of beans, and not only for us, but for neighbors as well. But I went and planted this one little row. Let me go over and show you what that thing is doing real quick. Look at all these stringless beans. Just tons of them. I've been resisting picking them till I could do this video. Handfuls of them. Oh my goodness. Just look at all these beans. Tons and tons and tons of them. They really need to get picked though. I was supposed to do this video tour a few days ago. But look how massive these beans are. They're enormous. We'll end up blanching them. We do have plans this year to get a pressure canner, so this Christmas. So next year, when these grow, we'll be able to can them. But yeah, that's the end of bed 3. Just tons and tons of beans. The production on these things is amazing, just absolutely amazing. And of course, my yarrow in this hanging basket that still needs to get planted out. I haven't planted out because it's going to go over in that corner of that melon patch over there after I get the arches up. And if you watch that video, you know that I still don't know exactly where those arches are going to go. But the interesting thing is this yarrow all died back, and look, it's already coming back again. That is so awesome. These are perennial. These will grow and grow and grow year after year. They'll die back, grow again. So I thought, oh well, I didn't get them planted out. I thought they were dead, but this is just the coolest thing. They just decided to come back again. I should have trimmed them. Now I know. I need to get in there with the cutters and trim them. The very, very last thing I'm going to show you is my big goji berry. And this is amazing. If you watched over the summer, come July, this had dropped all of its everything, leaves. It was just sticks in the heat of the summer. Then it started coming back with leaves, and now, look, it's got full goji berries on it. Ripe goji berries. Ooh, that was a little sweeter. I'm still not experiencing goji berry. Kind of the consistency of a tomato. Very good, extremely healthy for you. So, yeah, that's the gojis. Looking good. I gotta show you the chair that has been lost to the beans. Yeah, look at this. The beans kind of ate this chair, and we'll clean it off, but it's all wrapped up around underneath there. It's hilarious. We just let the beans take it over. Anyway. So that's the garden tour for October. Everything is done. It's October 31st. Still early in the morning. The sun is up. I think it's probably about 9 o'clock. And I got to get on with my day because I got a busy one going. If you watch the first part of this video tour, garden tour, remember it started out with that irrigation. I got to get that dug up this morning. That's just eating at me to get done. Ugh. That's why I call it the irritation. Now, when all my heads, actually there did move a head here in the back at the very beginning when I made the patio I'm sitting on right now, in the back. But that first head that I moved was the first of 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 that need to get moved. So anyway, goji berries are back. Good to see those again. Learning. We're learning about this stuff. This is Bowtie Dave for Bowtie Life. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Appreciate you watching along. Again, this is my own personal log of what's going on in the garden. Everything is indexed into the description, and that's so I can find it. But if you have areas you want to see again, or you want to see specific things, that's why the index is there too, so that you can go right to where you want to see and see the progress. And occasionally I talk about what I'm doing, how it's progressing, and all the good stuff. So, oh, happy fall, end of October, happy October. I got a few cucumbers I need to go pick, figure out what to do with them. But it's been a good month. Busy month, very busy month. Goji berries are back. I said that, what, 3 times now? 4 times? Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for following along, and I invite you to follow along anytime you want to. As always, you know it. Have a blessed day.